Hey all. So another war here. This is War 8 from last week against Old Driver. And yes, I brought my rank 3 Gamora to war today. It wasn't originally my suggestion. I didn't start this plan, but she does have armor breaks. I'm comfortable playing her around Killmonger early on. And she's a rank 3 Gamora. I ought to be able to do this. So we did it for fun. I basically just needed a Killmonger counter because Shocker is terrible for him. And while I am confident that I could do this fight with Reed, that doesn't sound like something that I should do if I don't have to. You know? Class disadvantage. Yeah, pause. Or pass. Anyway, we're just playing this carefully until we get to our special 2. As always with Killmonger, you want to make sure he is as close to 0 power as possible when you trigger reverb, so that means you don't start the fight with the parry. If you don't have the armor break up by the time the reverb comes back, then you try and bait out a special, get him down to 0, and then we got our armor up, or our armor break up, and the rest of the fight is just trivial. Because this is Gamora. I don't need to heal her, and she does an incredible amount of damage. So yeah, less than a minute. Rank 3 Gamora proves her worth. We move on to Kitty Pryde over here. I died to this recently when I just did not have my head screwed on correctly, basically, and didn't make a point to intercept early on. This is a fight where you don't have to bait a lot of specials, but it's a fight where you should probably bait at least one. So here we go. There's the 1. And now we're just trying to get to our special 2, right? We get another taunt there because that's helpful. We can bait another special here. There it is. Does a little bit of block damage. But at this point, we're just going for the special 2. I probably did not need to get that second taunt, honestly. I could have just pushed to the special 2, because at this point, this is just an absurd amount of overkill. The thing about Shocker is that his heavy output is pretty predictable if you don't have debuffs on you, so that you might have to worry about inequity. And so I am getting more and more comfortable with what a given number of charges will do, but it's not fully automatic just yet. And part of playing him, I'm finding, is definitely just learning to embrace the confidence that you will kill. But that is a little bit of a challenge sometimes. Because some of y'all saw my recent war video where I threw a heavy and it didn't kill. And moments like that make your heart stop a little bit. So anyway, this Sauron is a pretty simple one. We are trying to get the taunt up. There we go. We immediately grab 1. We are, of course, immune to shock effects, so we don't have to worry about that side of Burden of Might. But if he hits us, there's the other side of Burden of Might, which causes it to do burst damage. We don't want that to happen. Shock immunity doesn't save you there. And also, because there is prey on the weak here, we don't want to eat a special 3. Degen's hurt. So we're maybe a little more careful than we absolutely have to be, but we keep our taunts up, we keep our intercepts, we get the special 2, and we completely overkill this poor dinosaur. So it costs us some potions, but no regrets there. We move on to another fight that I've taken a few times now, the thing on the personal space regen node. I have said this before, I think that it is a somewhat interesting fight every time, but if this is the 4th, or I can't remember, maybe 5th time you're seeing it, please feel free to use the timestamps in the description. I like reminding people those are there, and I would rather you use them than close the video entirely. Being maybe more honest than I should be in a YouTube video. Anyway, reminder for those who haven't seen this before, you do not use the suppression pre-fight because that makes it more difficult to control things rock stacks. You do not want to do that. You very much just want to control his healing here. And ultimately, reverse it. Similarly, you want to stay alive, so you need to make sure that you are extremely comfortable with things specials and evading them up close. Thankfully, he is one where that is more easily practiced, honestly, because he moves forward enough on his specials that you can pretty easily duel him against the rear wall. If that is something you haven't tried yet with tactic defenders this season, I highly recommend you start. It's not really the same as rooted. They might throw it from further away. There's other complications, but you should at least give it a shot to know how these specials feel at the wall. And there is one small mistake, right? I don't really consider it that much of a mistake because I knew I would survive if he came in. Remember, the tactic turns off evade during specials, but not in basics. He'd gone unblockable enough. There were enough debuffs. I knew Reed would get out of a combo early there. I wasn't going to die, and I wanted that third stack of debuffs. It was worth me throwing it, even risking it going into block. And then you saw we closed it out from there. Very good fight from Reed. Just gotta be able to count to 15 reliably. Anyway, this apocalypse is on Burden of Might, so we do have to be very careful about dexing. You are going to see that get me into a bit of a weird spot. Mainly because I get intercepted right there, and I have now been pushed to my special 2. I do not have enough charges to kill yet, right? If I'd thrown that special 1 at reduced cost, then by the time I got to my special 2, there's a decent chance I would, but I wasn't there yet. So because I got intercepted and ate a full combo, which is the risk of going for intercepts in this tactic, we use Shocker Special 3 here. This Energize is going to make it very, very easy for us to go ahead and ramp the rest of the way, and so I'm feeling really good about this one. Kind of nice to get a special out of him right there while actually closer to 2 bars of power than to 1, because then the extra power loss from the tactic means that we are that much safer and also allows us to get in those extra hits and extra charges. And that means when we do get to the special 2 here, we are once again overkill. It is possible we didn't need that earlier special 1, but the Energize made it cheap. And that is kind of part of what I'm embracing with Shocker, is that you do sometimes need to be that much extra confident and just go for it, rely on it to close out. But this is war, not battlegrounds. And so sometimes I am much more comfortable doing the one extra thing that I know I can fit into the tempo of the fight and just overkilling by a factor of 10. Always better that than giving up an attack bonus. So there you see, we do go for the dex of the first hit, not so much the second hit. We're still making sure to get the taunts before we do that, because we want the ability to block. But the more comfortable you are with a given defender, the more you can pick and choose where to throw your dexes in to limit block damage. That is really something that you need to figure out in this tactic to limit your item use, because I know that's something that is bothering all of us. But then you saw me just wait because my charges continued to climb from Aggression Prowess while I was waiting out the Incinerate phase, made sure I had no debuffs on me, and it was very easily closed out when I came back around to Shock. So definitely a bit of a simpler war for me. Shocker is... there's no way I don't come out of the other side of this season with him as my MVP. Has been absolutely carrying me through this season. I've had some good fights, but he's incredible. I'm really, really happy that I pulled him twice over winter break, because I would be having a very different season, probably trying to pull off some BS with Zemo or something, if not for him. Yeah, incredible champion. Really happy with how his rebalancing went. Although I still hate fighting him on defense. But I hope y'all enjoyed this one. We did end up winning another war. We are doing okay this season. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and take care.